This is how my morning started on 9/11. By the time I got out of my emergency vehicle on the West Side Highway, which is not far from this North Tower, I looked up and I could see the two buildings was like Roman candles. Nothing but fire and debris just pushing out of the tops of these things. And they said, okay, we got to get closer. And I got closer and closer and closer. And I heard these unusual noises. And I just couldn't pinpoint. I've never heard these noises before. And I turned to my partner and I said, what's these noises all about? And he sounded something like boom, boom. And I got closer and closer and closer. And kept on louder and louder. And then I realized it was people jumping from the building. I was so distraught, so close, I could see the grimaces on their face as they were falling. I could just like imagine the pain they were going through and the emotion of pushing the air as they were going. And of course, standing there, you can't do anything about it. You just have to do what you're trained and move, and do the best you can to help. So we transversed around the building. I got within, I don't know, maybe 100 yards of where I think I needed to be to get into that lobby to get up and help. And as soon as I hit that 100-yard mark, the entire ground shook. It shook so bad, it was like standing next to a freight train. And I said, okay, now what? You look up, you see the building, and the building is pancaking. One floor after the next after the next. And your mind's eye says, wait a second, this can't be happening. And you're just in peril. And you say, run, run, run. But how long do you have? What direction should you go? It took a 110-story building 9 seconds to collapse. By the time I turned and ran, I didn't know at the time I had 9 seconds, but fortunately I'm standing here, I ran in the right direction. So I run. We all run, everybody. I run, thinking, I don't know, I can't be more than 10 feet away from this thing because I'm running so hard, but it doesn't feel like I'm going anywhere. And it's beautiful, I mean, the most beautiful blue sky you've ever seen. Clear as a bell. You turn, and there it is. Here's that dust cloud. You've all seen it on TV. There's that dust cloud. It tatters me, tatters my back, tatters my legs, tatters my body. That beautiful blue sky is now black as black could be. Close your eyes and run as fast as you can to save your life. And that's what I did. Thinking I got far enough away, of course I didn't. I ran into the side of a parked car. Full blast, out cold, laying in the street. Started to come through after a couple of minutes. I'm heaving now. My lungs are filling with smoke, debris. My palate, it's got a lot of crust in it. My throat's closing. I could feel myself going. There's no way I was getting out of this thing. I'm in pain. I can't get up anymore. I don't know where to go, what direction to go, and I can't see. And I'm starting to lose consciousness. And of course, I say to myself, oh, man, all right, this is the way it's going to be. It's the way it's going to be. You start to give in. Your mind races. And you say, oh, man, my wife. What's my wife going to do? What are my kids, my son, my daughter? I'm never going to see their children. I'm never going to see them have children or grow. And I'm going as slow could be. And then something unbelievable happened to me. As I gave in, as I gave up, this overwhelming sense of complacency, like you would not believe. It was like the most peaceful feeling one could ever have. It was body and soul zen. Zen like you would just think you were sleeping, the best sleep you ever had, times 10, times 100. And that's the way I felt. It was beautiful. And here I am thinking, okay, it's over for me. Then something happened again. I found out later it was a fireman and a police officer. They grabbed me by the shoulders. They dragged me up the block, one on each end. And I hear the fireman tell the cop, the fireman, I didn't know at the time. He said, oh, he's dead. And of course, I didn't have the strength to tell him, no, I'm not dead. I'm not dead. But they were able to get me to a safe place. And they got me to a safe place blocks away. I slowly recovered. Took me a little while. By the time I came to, of course, I'm not going to go to the hospital. There's no way. I'm like every good fireman, every good police officer, every good rescue worker. We're going back in. We're going to see what happens. Rescue and recovery. And that's what I tried to do, and that's what I did. However, there was no rescue. It was just recovery. It was like the H-bomb went off in this immediate area. That's why I call it ground zero. There's nothing left. We were walking on top of fire trucks. Didn't even know they were fire trucks anymore. They were squashed. So I got to the point where they relieved me. And they said, Mike, get off the pile. You need to go to they assigned me, of course, what did they assign me to? The temporary morgue. The temporary morgue, that's self-explanatory what the temporary morgue is. But for the next 72 hours, I'm at the temporary morgue. And during that time, I kept saying to myself over and over again, boy, when I get the opportunity, when I get the chance to get home, I'm beelining it right to see my kids. If they're in school, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take them out of school. Wherever they are, that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go see my wife. Well, after 72 hours, here I go. I live in Long Island, which is not far from here. I shoot out to the high school. I walk into the door of the high school. The principal says, what's their names? No idea who I am, but sees it on my face. My two kids come out, my son, my daughter. They're both in the same school, fortunately. They come out. We hug, we cry, we pray. Just as we're getting in the car, my daughter says to me, hey, Dad, you know, just before 9/11, just before I was privy to the information, she said, I had a dream about you, a daydream, like a premonition. I said, what was it? She says, I felt that you were in a dark, dark place. And I knew you were in a lot of pain. I could feel you were in pain. She says, but I knew you were going to be okay too, Dad. I just knew it. Which was really hard for me to hear at the time, of course. But again, we hug, we cry, we pray. Get into the car, go see Mom. Tell Mom the whole story, of course. And I'm very humbled to tell my story to you guys. But I'm just as humbled to now tell my son's son this story and my daughter's daughter this story. Thank you.